As soon as we saw this story, we knew that we had to talk about it and we had to get Ana Kasparian's reaction, because we know that housing is out of control. The price has been going up nationwide. We're in a crisis. We talk about this regularly. How bad is it getting though? It's getting so bad that people are fleeing the country. Year over year home prices in the LA metro area went up 15.2% in 2021. Overall in Southern California, 15.4%. Almost half of America's $1 million cities, where the average price of a home is at least $1 million, are in California. So it's bad everywhere, but it's particularly bad here. The LA metro area has $57 million cities, which is insane. If you don't want to buy, if you just want to rent, say in San Diego, a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom rental goes for about $2,400 a month. A house there is like $770,000 in general. So what has that led to? Well, according to the president of the Real Estate Association of Tijuana, the shortage of housing in California is creating a price surge in Tijuana's housing and apartment market, with rents now ranging from $400 to $2,500 a month there too. He said, unfortunately, everything is based on supply and demand. We are seeing that rent prices have gone up by 30%, as low and mid-range housing is now in high demand by Americans coming here. So like they say that people are leaving the big cities, or maybe California is too expensive, they're leaving there. No, they're supposedly leaving America, Anna. What do you think?
I feel awful for everyone in this story, with one exception, and that's the primary cause of the housing crisis, which we'll get to in a second. But look, I understand why Californians would move out of California and look for cheaper housing. Going to Mexico and inflating the prices for the local community there is not good. I'm not happy about that development. That means that the same issues that we're having within our borders are now spilling over outside of our borders. And so now it's becoming more of an international problem, and I hate that. Look, there are solutions to what we're seeing with the housing crisis as we speak, right? So there is a shortage of housing. There could be more inventory. Yes, I agree with those who think we should maybe rethink some of our zoning laws and allow for the construction of additional housing units. But that's just one part of the solution here. The other solution is foreigners should not be allowed to buy investment property in the United States. So this affects major cities across the country, not just Los Angeles. I'm tired of hearing about various oligarchs or various business interests in places like China parking their money in US real estate, things like commercial real estate, yes, but also in single family homes. We should also ban private equity firms from what they've been doing, certainly during the pandemic, where they're taking cheap money from the Federal Reserve and investing it into entire neighborhoods, buying up entire neighborhoods of single family homes so they can then turn around and corner the market in being the #1 slumlords in this country. That kind of stuff needs to be addressed now, immediately. And I have not seen any action by the Democratic Party on this. I haven't even seen any attention paid to this issue by the Democratic Party. All they seem to focus on is we just need to build more housing. No, if we don't have certain policies in place to prevent private equity firms from doing what they've been doing, then we're gonna keep building housing that will get snatched up by the very corporate interests that have contributed significantly to this problem.
Yeah, 100%. It might help a little bit in driving down the price, but it's not addressing the root cause of the problem. And why would it? Like the people who are doing the buying up, as you say, cornering the market, like literally buying dozens and dozens and dozens of homes in an area so they can set the price to whatever they want, they donate to politicians. And so, like, if you were to ban people living outside of the US from speculating on housing here, that would be beneficial for people who are trying to rent and trying to buy homes, but it would be bad for the real estate companies. They're trying to get the most money possible. Which one do we think the state legislators are going to listen to? Like in Sacramento, like, so that is why we need to put pressure on them. And again, it goes back to money in politics. If they have tons of money to buy out politicians and get them to put forward legislation, regulations that is super friendly to the real estate industry, then that's what we're gonna get. And we're gonna keep getting screwed over when it comes to renting and buying homes.
And understand it's super friendly policy, not just for the real estate industry, not just for the private equity firms. It's also excellent policy for real estate developers who want government contracts to build what they refer to as affordable housing. Oftentimes it's like mixed use buildings that have like 5% affordable housing included. But they get these government contracts, they get to inflate construction prices or construction costs to pad their pockets. It's a completely corrupt and disgusting system that we have in place that for good reason has actually done very little to nothing in responding to the affordable housing crisis that we're dealing with.
Yeah, and to close, I just want to say, because we continually try to get people to broaden the borders of their compassion as much as possible, this is also screwing over people in Tijuana and other places where people are moving to. They say that those moving down to Tijuana have almost 30% more to spend on a home than the average budget for locals. So then how does that play out for the locals? The price of rent is gonna go up, housing is gonna become impossible to actually purchase. Like, that's terrible for them too. And I understand it might be a little bit more difficult for people to really like center that concern when it is so difficult to pay their own rent, let alone to imagine someday buying a home. But it's just a reminder that there are huge ripple effects from this. We need to do something about it. And honestly, it's no coincidence that Fox News will talk about something like inflation in general or gas prices. Why are they talking about the cost of housing? Because then they would have to advocate for doing something, and you can't just drill more houses, I guess. You can build more houses, but they know that people aren't gonna buy that as an actual solution. So these are very significant economic issues, and we need to make sure that we don't lose sight of them, even though basically no politicians are talking about this. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.